I'm angry. I see a burning injustice in Britain. Our greatest generation, our senior citizens, are being treated like second-class citizens. Today, it became official that winter fuel payments will be cut, the energy price cap has gone up, so bills could be around 10% higher, council tax is set to go up again, and the single-person discount may disappear, which would disproportionately affect the elderly. In fact, it's even been nicknamed the widow tax. And now they might even lose their bus passes. Now, it breaks my heart to know that this winter, millions of elderly people will be putting on a hat, a coat and gloves in their own front room. It breaks my heart that so many of them will have to choose between heating their home and eating a meal that day. Now, they have paid into the system their whole lives, but now they are at the back of the queue in Britain. And I think that's wrong. So I thought maybe I could do something to help them out. And that's why today I have launched a fundraiser for Friends of the Elderly. I've set an initial target, all right, of £100,000. Now, I know that sounds like a heck of a lot of money. It is a heck of a lot of money. But I know 100% that we can do that, OK? Now, I've got loads of stuff planned. And this fundraiser is certainly going to be keeping me and my team very busy in the coming weeks. But let me just tell you a little bit about Friends of the Elderly, and that's there, the donation page, all right? So that's justgiving.com/page/save our seniors. OK, that's what the page address is. Anyway, so Friends of the Elderly, they give grants to pensioners living in poverty. Now, this year is set to be their busiest year. We will have more pensioners plunged into poverty than ever before. They've had elderly people calling them in tears. They literally don't know where their next meal is coming from. So if you donate to justgiving.com/page/save our seniors, then that money will help save a senior citizen's life this winter. Now, unlike today's younger generation, who always have their hand out, many seniors are too proud to ask for help. And that means many of them suffer in silence. Well, not on our watch. Now, I know you feel that there is a grave injustice here. Our pensioners are getting clobbered, so we can just give money away to everybody else. I know you care about that. Like I said, I've got a lot planned for this fundraiser, but you can get the ball rolling now by going to justgiving.com/page/save our seniors. Thanks to you, we've done some amazing fundraisers at GB News. We raised £130,000 to the mental health charity Mind. We raised nearly £500,000 for the Royal British Legion. Well, let's see what we can do for our elderly. OK? I think what's happening to pensioners in Britain is an absolute scandal. Let's show the elderly that we care. So that's justgiving.com/page/save our seniors. Right, let's get the thoughts of my panel this evening. We're joined by sketch writer and columnist at The Telegraph. We've got Madeline Grant. I'm also joined by journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth and the former chairman of the Tory party, Sir Jake Berry. Jake, I'll start with you on this. It just seems really out of whack that in Britain we've got people who pay into the system their entire lives and that they end up getting clobbered, and we seem able to just dish money out to everyone else, don't we?
I think the fact that you are starting that Just Giving page is a national disgrace. I think it's absolutely appalling that the fourth or fifth richest economy in the world, a major national television broadcaster, has to start a fund to stop pensioners freezing to death over the winter. What on earth is the Labour Party doing taking this money away from pensioners? When I was growing up, we used to have fundraisers on television, comic relief, raising money for starving children around the world, wherever it was. We now, in Starmer's Britain, have to have a fundraiser on a national television channel because pensioners are going to die. This is not what people voted for in July. I applaud you for doing this. I think it's fantastic. I look forward to supporting it. But the fact you have to do it is an absolute disgrace.
I mean, Maddie, the idea, really, that we have, it's not just the winter fuel payments, because we've got the energy price cap going up as well, which will have an impact. Council tax only ever seems to go up, so that will happen, won't it, as well? There's even chatter about them having the bus pass taken away.
Free prescriptions
yeah,
on the block.
I spoke to friends of the elderly. I mean, they told me some absolutely horrendous stories about people who are like £1 or £2 above the price cap, so now they are just going to be absolutely clobbered. It just doesn't seem fair to me in Britain, I think.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Well, I think the way in which they've gone about this is unbelievably callous, in the sense that if they wanted to means test some pensioner welfare, they could have done it in a different way. They could, for example, have said that any pensioner who's paying the additional rate or the higher rate, fine, no winter fuel payments for those people. But it's restricting it exclusively to pensions credit, and also in not giving people any notice about this. I mean, this is a big sum of money if you're already struggling. And to be given no notice, something that was not in the manifesto. And of course, we also know that many pensioners are not particularly tech savvy, and many people, and the process of going about applying for pensions credit is notoriously complex. It involves endless form filling. It's a very complicated system. So there may well be people who are even eligible for that, but will not now be looking for it.
Yeah.
And I just think that both the seriousness of this and the manner in which they've gone about it leave much to be desired. And I'm someone who broadly does support means testing certain pensioner benefits.
Absolutely. Benjamin, it's to me, it's the massive sense of injustice that we've got here, right? So we are able to lob about £11 billion out around the world to help other countries deal with climate change. We are able to give an infinite pot of resources to people who just arrived across the channel. And yet we've got people who are conceivably in their 80s or 90s, our greatest generation, who will now essentially be freezing in their own front rooms. I just think it's just such a hypocrisy.
Well, you have people at the bottom of the pile who are pensioners that clearly need help and probably have needed more help for a long time. Now, you also have 27% of pensioners that are in £1 million houses, and that's a figure often quoted in the Daily Express, which is hardly an anti-pensioner newspaper. And I think that, some of this has been distorted because the state pension went up by £900 in April. Next April, it goes up by £460. So this winter, the average pensioner will receive more money from the state, even with this £300 knocked off, than they did last winter.
Well,
so
that's correct.
And it's even more than inflation.
Council tax going
it's even
up,
more than
all of that
inflation. And so I think there is an awful lot of scaremongering going on to regular pensioners who are going to get more money even after inflation.
The first thing, it's not more than inflation.
It is.
The triple lock tracks inflation. It is only more than inflation if inflation itself is less than 2.5%. And we've been through a period where inflation has been 8, 9, 10%. It's just absolutely incorrect, Benjamin, to say it's more than inflation.
It's not.
It is absolutely designed to track inflation on a certain date. The fact that it may be more than inflation today doesn't mean that pensioners haven't suffered inflation for the last year. It's just completely untrue to say that.
The rise in wages.
It's all very well and good saying that there's scaremongering going on here, but, over the course of the next few weeks, I'm going to be laying bare the actual reality of what pensioners are going through at the moment and the fear that they've got. And it is just absolutely heartbreaking where they're at. And, I suppose it's a question of, we've had perceived two-tier policing, two-tier justice. I mean, this almost seems like a two-tier society.
Two-tier care. On the day we found out that a man who earns £166,000 a year, his wife, we don't know her salary, but it's reported to be over 600,000. They get over 60,000. I beg your pardon. I know exactly. Where do I sign? Combined income of 200 grand, a free house, number 10 Downing Street in central London. We hear from Keir Starmer today that not only can he not afford to buy his suits and his wife can't afford to buy her own dresses, he can't afford to buy his own tickets to go and see his beloved Arsenal. I don't know why you go and see Arsenal instead of Liverpool anyway. But, that is double standards and hypocrisy writ large across this Labour body. A Prime Minister who wants all the freebies for himself. Give me the money, give me the clothes, even give me the glasses. You could get some free glasses. Won't give a pensioner £200.
I absolutely knew you would have done.
Won't give pensioner £200. It's a disgrace. And why can this man, who is our Prime Minister, not read the room? He is absolutely wrong. He and his wife are like a pair of grifters squatting in number 10.
All MPs get tickets to events. So can I just check, if I go and look at your register of members' interests from your time as an MP, you've never accepted a gift to an event?
I don't think I have, actually. I mean, I might be wrong. Maybe 15 years ago.
Unlikely. I mean,
but I don't think I have.
If you're attacking Keir Starmer for something that you and every other MP does...
It's not like... I'm not literally freezing pensioners to death this winter.
You guys raise taxes...
Politics is about choices. And how can we have a Prime Minister who says, I can't afford to buy my own tickets to the football because I might need to go in a box?
Sorry, I'm getting something in my ear now, which is... which I do believe is this happens all the... What? We've raised $7,500.
That's brilliant.
Is that right? 7.5... 347 people have already donated to justgiving.com/page/Save Our Seniors. We're going to give the money, all of it, to Friends of the Elderly. They do grants for people. They help to take them to doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, all of that stuff. And apparently, I'm just being told in my ear now that we launched that 15 minutes ago and you've managed to raise $7,500 in that amount of time.
Benjamin, keep talking.
This is amazing. Yeah, brilliant. Well done, everybody. Right, look, just to emphasise why I'm rattling the can for this, right? Because it really does seriously, genuinely break my heart when I think about this injustice that's going on in Britain at the moment. It doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem right to me. And I also know that a lot of elderly people are often too proud to ask for help. And there was one testimony, I spoke to someone from Friends of the Elderly, and they said to me that this lady, bless her, called up. And obviously she's called up because she must need some help. And she was on the phone for 20 minutes before she admitted, I need a bit of help, actually. You know, this is the generation that deserve this kind of stuff. So well done and thank you, everybody, really, for donating to that. But, Madeline, I'll just bring us back into the room here. Just picking up on what Jake was saying. So you've got this idea, Starmer... He is a millionaire. I'm not begrudging him that. Well, well done.
Yeah.
I think when his mum was getting on a bit, he bought her a 7-acre plot in Surrey, I believe, which is quite nice. I think they had a donkey sanctuary.
They did, yes.
So that's all lovely, right? And then now you've got this guy saying, no, we're going to take away the winter fuel payments. The optics of it aren't great, are they?
I actually can't believe how quickly it's taken them to fall into these obvious bear traps. That, firstly, if you're going to make a kind of decision like this, at least give people tons of notice so you can have a proper public service campaign explaining to people about the necessity of signing up for pensions credit, for example. But they didn't do that. They just rushed it through. In fact, it looks very much like essentially the Treasury who asked probably every incoming Prime Minister tell them that this would be a good idea. But on the whole, Prime Ministers sensibly say, no, that's a very bad idea. But on this occasion, Rachel Reeves said yes. But also just the optics of the, having made such a song and dance about probity and honesty and been, unbelievably pious for several years under Rishi Sunak and previously Boris Johnson, to have failed to declare these gifts. I mean, it's actually, I mean, who is in charge of this? You would have thought this was very basic politics 101 that they've somehow managed to screw up.
Yeah, I know, I agree. And also, as well, I just think the idea of getting your wife a personal shopper...
it's the idea of a lord buying a millionaire's wife clothes is a bit creepy and weird, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest. How many free pairs of glasses have you had, Benjamin?
I've had 2 or 3 free pairs of glasses, but they weren't...
It's a bit like Indecent Proposal. He had a pasta number 10 as well for a few days. Maybe it's like Indecent Proposal, allegedly.
I've known Lord Ali for some time, and he's donated to the Labour Party for a very long time. It's not creepy, because he's a gay man.
Really
he was married to a man for many years. In fact, he was the first gay person appointed to the House of Lords in the 90s. I think it's wrong that they didn't declare it. But the truth is that the expectations of how politicians are meant to look, those things cost a fortune, and we don't put them on salaries.
But they have a household salary of 200 grand and they live rent-free. What, you're saying he can't afford to go to Specsavers and get a pair of glasses? Exactly. What planet does this man live on?
Also, I'm sorry, but most people in Britain couldn't pick his wife out of a lineup. Right, so the idea that she has to be walking around dripping from head to toe...
She's a gorgeous woman. She would look good in a bin bag. I'm not saying she should go out in a bin bag, but I don't think it necessarily needs to be the highest of the high end. She'd look damn good in anything. But the fact is, I think this wouldn't have hit quite so hard if Keir Starmer hadn't consistently assumed the moral high ground to the point of being, at times insufferably about...
He did used to be a prosecutor. Did you know that about him?
Wait, wasn't
he knows the law. He knows the law.
Yeah.
But I forget
if only his dad were a dressmaker.
OK, sorry, I'm being shouted at because we've rumbled on far too long.